Dear USA, all nations, and 7.9 plus billions of humans, I just want to have this as a generic civil justice sign off. Whatever I want for the civil justice, for I am displaying the USA government errors, public sector errors, private sector errors, and how USA government operations got destroyed, and for displaying the absolute monarchs scandal. I, Vethapriya PROSE, wanted these civil justice to be provided to me. Okay, so I'll just read the sign off so that it will be in all these other sessions. Okay, so for I, Vethapriya PROSE, native Indian tribe, Christian Jew of Israel, Judah, Jerusalem, and true owner of USA, and proved USA is Tamil Nadu, and I, Vethapriya PROSE, have highest impasse eligibility to lead USA. I must be the interim leader of USA now is civil justice served. And for I, Vethapriya PROSE, displayed USA government errors and the scandal of absolute monarchs to USA government. I, Vethapriya PROSE, for civil justice as in Holy Bible guidelines. I, Vethapriya PROSE, want United States of America nation to rename Lord Ripon Building in Tamil Nadu, India, after my name Vethapriya is civil justice served. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, to become the Vatican leader now is civil justice served. And Pope Francis resigns abruptly now is civil justice served. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, become Supreme Chief Civil Judge for all nations, now is civil justice served. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, become Supreme Chief Family Law and Supreme Chief Children Judge for all nations is civil justice served. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, to become Global Poverty Relief Medical Director Chief for all nations, to lead and guide World Bank, United Nations organizations, World Health Organizations, Center for Disease Control, Department of Children Families, Department of Health Services, Department of Justice, Department of Revenue, Department of Agriculture, Department of Imports Export, Department of Military in all nations across the globe is civil justice served. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, to be the ambassador for all nations, starting with India, and I, Vethapriya PROSE, should get dual citizenship of USA and India now is civil justice served. And thank you all for your time. Take care, my dear fellow mankind. I sure will get civil justice for entire human kingdom in 1 minute. Thank you all for your time. Bye for now. The all nations and 7.9 plus billions of humans. I hope we are all on the same page on this record that I am providing. Very, very crucial, very, very important civil justice sign off for myself, and multitasking is the wisdom. And this session, I am covering the deadliest amendment tax fraud crime for the amendment all the way from 11th up until amendment up at 15. Okay, and yes, President Joe Biden provided the tax fraud crime of the amendments, and he must resign because this tax fraud comes under the deadliest war crime, deadliest Holocaust, deadliest Nazism crime. So that is why must resign immediately. Okay, prostitutes, Antichrist, prostitute Pope Francis, and prostitute absolute monarchs, and prostitutes Republican government, and prostitutes Democrat government, and prostitutes Senate, and prostitutes Congress, and prostitutes GOP, and prostitutes House of Representatives, and prostitutes presidents 1 up until 46th of USA, provided all USA amendments, tax fraud, deadliest crime, classified as war crimes of slavery and hatred and discrimination classification of Holocaust Nazism. And March 2021, 46th President Joe Biden must resign now, immediate, for provided USA amendments, tax fraud, deadliest classified domestic violence, Holocaust Nazism crime. And Antichrist, alias prostitute, alias Lucifer, alias Satan, is Roman Catholics Christianity, Jesuits leader. Pope Francis destroyed USA national operations, must resign now. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, must be the Vatican leader now, according to the Holy Bible guidelines only. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, proved elections 2020 tax fraud crime. And I, Vethapriya PROSE, native Indian tribe, true owner of USA, should be interim leader of USA now accordingly to the Holy Bible guidelines only. I, Vethapriya PROSE, should be the family law judge and children law judge and the medical and finance law judge and all types of judge for all nations, and must be global poverty relief medical director chief for all nations now according to the Holy Bible guidelines only. Pope Francis must pay tax-free $500,000 trillion to each civilian times 7.9 plus billions of humans for destroyed USA national operations with fatal negligence and failed in God of USA job. So what is the Amendment 11? It was passed by Congress on March 4th of 1794, ratified on February 7th of 1795. Note, Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution was modified by Amendment 11. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. Okay, and what is amendment number 12? I've provided in part A because it's very long, so I have to take the screenshot in a part A, part B like that. Okay, so it was passed by Congress on December 9th of 18th century 1803 and ratified on June 15th of 1804. Note, a portion of the Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution was superseded by the 12th Amendment. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. So they shall name in their ballots the person voted for president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president. And they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president, and of all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. So, did Republican GOP or did Democrat GOP Schumer counted the votes? Or who is the leader of the Senate? Who voted? Whatever. Can you see how everything is a garbage and elections 2020 is a scandal? And this is part A. So there is that part B of the Amendment 12. It is passed by Congress on December 9th of 1803, ratified June 15th of 1804. Note, a portion of Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution was superseded by the 12th Amendment. What does it say? The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. So that means, can you see that whatever the population are going to vote for the president, does not even come into the picture? So they can do what not of a hell and they can get away free with it. It's not going to be that way, right? Abruptly, President Joe Biden is going to resign. More crime is on the way. These are all only small crimes. There is more crime. I mean, these are all not small crimes. These are all the crimes as a standalone. But there is more crime on the queue. I have to dump all the crimes on the mouth of Pope Francis, isn't it? This is how I'm tearing the cell by cell of Queen Elizabeth II. How many military, how many war equipments are there? Nobody could kill Queen Elizabeth II, isn't it? She's like a queen bee, the terminator on the, not the terminator part, that a monarchy, how that queen bee is very toughest bee to kill, to be killed. It can never be killed. That's why the households will call the terminators to come and destroy that queen bee. It'll just destroy. Nobody knows how fast as it can build. It'll build and it'll just destroy. She created that kind of a destruction, my dear fellow mankind. She created that kind of a destruction fastest way possible, and nobody could figure it out because brain never thinks about in that line, right? We human brains always think about only healthy things, right? We'll not even have that clue. Oh, can one lady be all this root cause behind every chaos? It'll be total shock for everybody, isn't it? The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president, if such number be a majority of the whole numbers of electors appointed, and if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. Can you see the crime here? Can you all open your God-given eyes and see? Please pray to God. Dear God, help us to open our eyes. Let us see with the wisdom eyes what type of the crime that's going on and what type of the crime that's going on educated by this wisest lady. Please provide that wisdom, God. You ask God. God will provide that wisdom. I'm helpless here. I can only educate the wisdom, that is all. Right? So the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. So all the House of Representatives are fools, right? All those 3 ladies or the 4 ladies who got elected, they did not like President Trump because President Trump asked them to go back to their own country. One was Somalia, wherever, and one was Palestine, and one was Mexico or something like that, right? But that is why whenever these are all lawmakers only, how they cannot even give an excuse, isn't it? They are all prostitutes. Because when they are going to provide this kind of a very important decision, it must not be prejudiced, it must not be stereotyped, it must never be based out of emotional, right? Never the justice must be signed out of emotional. But all this election 2020 scandal created out of emotional burst. Emotional burst. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by the states, the representation from each state having 1 vote, a quorum. I don't know what's the meaning of that. There are some words which I don't know the meaning. You go look online. For this purpose shall consist of a member or members for 2/3 of the states, and majority of the all states shall be necessary to a choice. So population are thinking, they are fooled into thinking that they have to go to the ballot house, they have to vote, only their vote gets to hear. No. This election commission created by the Pope Francis and Queen Elizabeth II is created in a scandalous way possible, that population voting is just a scam. For that, how innocent and foolish civilians have to stand on the long queue, and how that crime was even provided. During that snow time, how many people just went and stand in the snow, even when it was during the peak COVID-19 crime. One side COVID-19 crime, One side, two presidential candidates were fighting with each other like a toddlers. World war mocking at USA. And other side, the population were thinking, oh, they have the voting rights, so they have to go. And they were thinking as if it was, they're doing something good. No, they got fooled. Regardless of whatever they're going to vote, it's not their, finally it is going to be the Senate prostitutes, or it's going to be the House of Representative prostitutes, or it's going to be either the GOP prostitutes, or it's going to be the Congress prostitutes who are prostituting with Pope Francis, and Queen Elizabeth will pick and choose the president according to their choice. That says it all, isn't it? A small action says it all. President Trump is at fault only. I'm not saying he's not at fault, but he's at fault, but innocent. But President Joe Biden could have backed off from being the president, isn't it? That would have saved him a lot of energy. Now he has to end up only in the jail. How many amendments are there? And each amendment is a tax fraud. Each amendment is $1 trillion tax fraud. I'm going to ask President Joe Biden to pay $500,000 trillion for all this tax amendment, tax fraud he provided. And he should resign immediately. These are all impacts the population, isn't it? For how long? These are all written in the 18th century. Oh my gosh, we are in 2021. Are they having any sense? Those people in the Congress and the Senate or the House, are they having any sense at all? Then if they want to follow this law, then they should shut down all the artificial intelligence, all the robots, right? Then we all need to go back to that Stone Age era more, the 18th century more. Right. This is a clear telltale sign, my dear fellow mankind. There is a generation gap, isn't it? 95% of the people in the government are old people. They want to secure their job because they don't want to retire, because they don't want to be in the social security crap. They know that's a crap. They'll be better off earning a salary just by sitting and doing all this crap, being a Senate prostitutes or whatever, right? Generation gap. There's a proof, right? Mitch McConnell to Bernie Sanders to Elizabeth Warren to Mitt Romney, all are old people. They want to secure their job. They want to have that power grab. They really don't care about the population or who is getting elected or who is not getting elected. They really don't care. It's not going to be that way anymore, right? I displayed the crime right here. So that means President Joe Biden cannot even think that he got president, he became a president, oh, nobody can do anything to him. No, that's not how it works. He provided tax fraud on the amendment tax fraud. A president, when a president providing an amendment tax fraud, how can he be the president? Being a lawyer. When the judge and the commissioner and the two female lawyers and the female cop of the state of Wisconsin don't know any of the amendments, how can they even be in the law services? That is why I mandated them to kneel down in front of 7.9 plus billions of humans, and they let them kneel down. Let them keep on leaning down in front of entire human kingdom. Because they know what they did to me for the damages, right? Are they humans? The amendment should say, if a nation is producing a foolish humans like this in the Department of Justice, they should be mandated to kneel down in front of the human kingdom. That is how the amendment should be written. Then people getting into the law school, right from the law school all the way to the lawyer's mode, forever, even after the coffin, they will never dare to hurt mankind, isn't it? But that was not written like here. It is written, create hell. Queen Elizabeth, only created this amendment, right? So that is why I'm tearing her in cell by cell. When I'm tearing her cell by cell, President Joe Biden will resign. When I'm nailing on the forehead of the Pope Francis, President Joe Biden will resign, right? So elections are made mockery, isn't it? The government made a mockery. They mocked at population. Oh, there is no other crime. There is no other crime. President Trump was mocking at the population one side. President Joe Biden was mocking at the population one side. Because they all know behind the scenes, even at the population are going to vote, it's not going to be their call. It is going to be the Senate or the House of Representative Prostitutes' call. They want to create a show anyways. They created the show, isn't it? How the postal services was pulled into the scandal out of nowhere. And how electronic ballots and electronic system votings was pulled into the scandal, right? Everything is a tax fraud. Then Part C of Amendment 12. It also passed by Congress on Congress December 9th of 1803, ratified June 15th of 1804. A portion of Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution was suspended by the 12th Amendment. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them, before the 4th day of March, next following, then the Vice President shall act as a president. As in I don't know why they have to come up with this amendment, but anyways, everything is a scam. So they know. They know people will create lot of hell. So they wanted to provide their own selfish pleasures of law. I will read it one more time. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them before the 4th day of March, next following, then the Vice President shall act as President as in case of the death or other constitution disability of the President. The person having the greatest number of votes as Vice President shall be the Vice President if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person of majority, then from the 2 highest numbers of the list, the Senate shall choose the Vice President. A quorum for the purpose of shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of President shall be eligible to that of a Vice President of the United States. It was superseded by the Section 3 of the 20th Amendment. Can you all see? Are you all puking? You all must have only cursed me to death when I said elections 2020 is a scandal and President Joe Biden should resign immediately, right? I was even looking into that news. Some of the, the supporters of the President Trump were even hoping he will become the president by March 4th. Probably, I think it's because of this amendment they were saying. Oh my gosh. Can you see how the selfish people can write their own law with blinded eyes? Then comes the Amendment 30. It was passed by Congress on January 31st of 1865, ratified on December 6th of 1865. Note, a portion of the Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution was superseded by the 13th Amendment. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Why they never provide, when they are able to provide a slavery word, why they never knew that slavery word is a crime? Why they never knew that slavery was created by prostitute Queen Elizabeth II, who is a slave provider? Why they never knew that white-skinned Pope Francis is a slave provider? Why? And this was created on 18th century, right? Slavery of prostitution, slavery of dark ages of Rome, slavery of religious abuse, slavery of military abuse, slavery of war, slavery of civil war, slavery of lynching, slavery of flogging, slavery of KKK, slavery of Confederation monuments, statues, wars, slavery of Native Indian tribe wars, slavery of Mexico wars, slavery of Asian wars, slavery of Islam wars, slavery of Africa wars. Then there's a section 2. It says, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. They never did that. So that means, I don't know what he studied, what President Joe Biden studied in accredited law school. They should have provided all this amendment in his curriculum, right? And they must even provided, I don't know what type of education they provide in the law school, because I never went to the law school. On the highest level, I'm aware all these amendments must be provided to him. He could have provided a thesis, worked on a thesis and submitted a thesis that all these words should not be even there. USA government, like that, right? How easy it would have been. Okay, how many lawyers, whether Bill Clinton was in law school, Hillary Clinton law school, President Obama law school, Michelle Obama law school, President Joe Biden law school, Kamala Harris law school. Then lawmakers, the fancy lawmakers. I don't know whether they went to the law school or not, but anybody can become lawyers, the lawmaking people, isn't it? So Mitt Romney lawmaker, then Amy lawmaker, Bernie Sanders lawmaker, Elizabeth Warren lawmaker. It's just that they were throwing stones on President Trump, and for next 4 years, they'll be throwing the same stones in different ways on the face of President Joe Biden, because they all know how that entire crap prostitution government operations functions, right? Tell me, why not even one educated? Okay, these law people leave. These must be written, studied even in the school levels also, right? Why nobody knew that the slavery word must not be even there in the amendment? Why? At least Dr. Fauci, Dr. Brinks could have educated USA, right? Why? Because the doctors only know how the pain and agony that gets tortured in the brain nerve cells, right? So they should have at least said, oh, no, USA, it was created in the 18th century by the prostitute, absolute monarch Queen Elizabeth II. Just fry it in ashes. Let us create a new nation ourselves. Let us create a new law for ourselves. For the humans, to the humans, by the humans, using the democracy code, using the Holy Bible guidelines. Let us work on it. How easy is it to have been, isn't it? It's all humane standards, right? So they are saying ethical standard, these are all crap, isn't it? These are all crap. The prostitution. This is how educated population got fooled. So Kamala Harris can say, see, when I was becoming a lawyer, this is how I did a pledge that I will provide only civil justice to the population and I will never punish innocent. See, here we go. I will ask her only. Vice President Mrs. Kamala Harris, or however she wants to be addressed at, Kamala Harris. This amendment says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude. Why on the earth there is a slavery word? Why did you not see it? So can you see how everybody became selfish after all, self-centered, and they were all wanting to save their own selves, right? Then the Amendment 13th. It was passed by Congress on January 31st. Oh, I read it already, right? Then comes the 14th Amendment. It says it was passed by Congress on June 13th of 1866, ratified July 9th of 1868. Are you all puking or are you all laughing? Which year are we in? We are in 2021. Are they having any common sense in the government of USA to go and look into this old, very old law that was created by the prostitute Queen Elizabeth II, after all? Then I will say, go back to the USA, just go back to the 18th century. If you all want to you all have to follow this 18th century law that was written by the prostitute Queen Elizabeth II, just go back to the 18th century. Reverse the calendar. Let's not be in the 20th century. Let's all go back to the 18th century. Right? Are they having any common sense for whatever crap they did? Can you all see why the House of Representatives, the Senate, the GOP, everybody must end up in the jail, no matter what, and they cannot apologize to me, isn't it? Did you all ask for amendments? Nobody asked for amendments. This kind of a crap, isn't it? I already provided an agenda. I already provided what I'm going to do when I'm taking into the office to lead the USA. And one of the tasks was, I will provide the amendment reform. This is a live example that I am the true, excellent Supreme Judge. I never went to the law school. Yes, my dear fellow mankind. Everybody knows that. Department of Justice knows that because I've been conversing with them. Even the Secretary of State knows that too, right? So I never went to the law school, and I'm saying, well, the moment I step in to be the leader of the USA, interim leader of the USA and Supreme Judge and whatnot of the customized job offer, one of the tasks which I will provide is, I will provide all the reform in the amendments. Means, I will fry all the unhealthy amendments in ashes day one. I will fry it only in front of entire human kingdom. Transparency, right? And they never wanted to tell these amendments are written in the 18th century because people will laugh at USA. Now let them mock. Let all the world were already mocking, and they'll be super mocking now because it created in 18th century. And it's a proof, life proof that Queen Elizabeth the prostitute only created that. They cannot escape. USA cannot escape. That is why USA is mandated to kneel down in front of all nations for whatever crime it created, right? So what is Amendment 14? The Part A of Amendment 14 says, all persons born or naturalized in United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of the citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life. Are you hearing me loud and clear? Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, freedom, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So, yeah, the state of the Wisconsin Department of Justice is handcuffed and mandated to kneel down in front of 7.9 plus billions of humans because they don't know what is justice. They don't know what is civil justice. They don't know what is, they don't know that in civil justice process, innocent must never be punished. And they don't know that injustice must never, 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 forever, should never be signed. They signed it anyways. So, judge and commissioner and two female lawyers and the female cop, they're all handcuffed and mandated to kneel down in front of entire human kingdom because they don't know any of the amendments, right? Without knowing amendments, they become lawyers. I don't know what they studied in the law school. Crap, right? Garbage, prostitution. They have been educated how to prostitute. That's all. They have been educated there in the law school. And they provided prostitution. That's all, right? Prostitution. My gosh. They do not have any birthright to remove the birthright of a civilian. They removed it. Anyways, they're going to pay the price. Watch and see. They're going to pay the price. They are going to pay the price. That means my blood is boiling. It's just one me. But how many civilians they must have signed the injustice? Oh my gosh. I cannot even think about the other people who underwent that kind of a torture in the hands of those prostitutes in the name of justice, right? How many years? 500 years. Tell me, why not even one educated Senate? Why Bernie Sanders never knew this is the 18th century? Even he could have burned this old, very, very old law that was created by the prostitute Queen Elizabeth II and could have burnt it in ashes, isn't it? They all talk sweet talk. How about Amy? How about Erin? What is her name? Elizabeth Warren. All right? And Mitt Romney, John McCain. I don't know why United States of America lost its brain. Then comes the part A of 4. I finished that part A. Then comes the part B of the Amendment 14th. Representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. Do you want me to repeat it? Indians not taxed. Can you see the tax fraud right here? The crime. How I nailed on the forehead of President Joe Biden, who's a lawyer, and I'm not even a lawyer. And how the robocall poverty mandate, it was created to mandate me, and that voice message itself was created for the tax fraud only. They hired Mitch McConnell, Brett Kavanaugh, federal government, FBI agency, and President Trump. They hired the robocall service providers. US Cellular also joined hands. It came from US children. I tracked it down. Then US children, AT&T. I tracked out everything. They threw acid on me. So what is one more time? Exclude Indians not taxed. That sounds like a what the word? Oh my world. Are you all laughing? Or are you all shedding tears of blood? Or are you all shedding tears of shame and puking at the same time on the face of Pope Francis? This was ratified when? 18th century. 18th century. Oh my gosh. Oh. Can you all see when I said Medicare was wrong upfront in Hewlett Packard, why they fired me, why they laid me off? This is what. Today, Hewlett Packard will be on the jail. I only can bail them out. That's that little bit of innocence, right? Because it is Pope Francis and the Queen Elizabeth II, the prostitutes, who created all this crap. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for the President and Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and the judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age and citizens of United States, or in any way abridged except for participation in rebellion or other crime, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. So that means even when I'm reading, I can understand very vaguely only. It is almost same in the form of how doctors will sell all long names. These lawyers, they write it in their own verbiage. I never went to the law school. So there are some words which I cannot understand. Then I have to Google and understand it my way. But on the highest level, that's a tax fraud crime, isn't it? Why nobody educated that should not be even tax word in that amendment? How I am nailing on the forehead of President Joe Biden, isn't it? Okay, let's say at least when he went to a job in the government to become a lawmaker, at least there he would have heard about amendment. Then he would have had the chance to read this text. Then he could have stood up and educated USA, there should not be any tax word, it is very crime, according to the Holy Bible law, right? Why he never educated that? Because he was prostituting, and he is still prostituting with the prostitute Queen Elizabeth II and Pope Francis. It's proved, I'm proving it. Then there is that Part C of Amendment 14. What does it say? Passed by Congress on June 13th of 1866, ratified July 9th of 1868. It says, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the crime, against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof, but Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. Can you see how confusing it is? Is President Joe Biden a member of Congress? Yes or no? Not now. I'm talking about before elections more. Or was President Joe Biden an officer of the United States before elections 2020? Yes or no? Or was President Joe Biden a member of any of the state legislature? Yes or no? Or was President Joe Biden an executive or judicial officer of any state? Yes or no? To support the Constitution of the United States? Yes or no? Can you all see why President Trump will be laughing out loudest because of all this crime? What is President Joe Biden going to say about this? It says, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress. What is President Joe Biden going to say about this amendment? He should not have become presidential candidate at the first place, isn't it? It's the same for Kamala Harris too. She was a senator. Can you all see why all the women just want to save themselves and they backed off from presidential candidate? Even Kamala Harris backed off. But even when she backed off, they pulled her in to fall in this trap of crap. For her, it is just a job. But for the Democrat government, which is very prostitution organization, they want to pull her and throw her in the trap. Right? Amy, senator, was standing for president. But here this amendment says, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath as member of Congress. Is Tulsi Gabbard a member of Congress of the United States of America? Yes or no? Is Mitt Romney member of Congress? Yes or no? He was standing for a presidential trial. Is Senate, who is that man from state of Vermont? Bernie Sanders. He's a senator. He stood up for the presidential candidate. Elizabeth Warren, a senator who stood up for a presidential candidate. They all must be puking blood with a pus that oozes out of the deepest wound, isn't it? Because they provided the crime, the tax fraud crime. Right? Do they even know what is the amendment, the Part C amendment of 14? Before, he was a vice president, right? So what does it mean? No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath as member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or an executive or a judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution shall have engaged in insurrections or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may be, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. So they tweaked, they wanted to create their own law. This government, the filthiest prostitutes, they want to create their own law. They wanted the senators to become the president. They wanted the representatives only to become the president. Right? They wanted whoever were vice president or who are holding office in the government only to become the president, like that. So they created their own selfish law. This is how super prostitutes will create the law. All women in the government only provided this kind of a crap. They are the deadliest, venomous prostitutes in the government process, right? I displayed the deadliest crime, the tax fraud crime provided by President Joe Biden, and what he on the earth is going to do. He's going to faint and pass out, isn't it? At least he had how many years he had for past 50 years in his career. He could have spent a little bit of extra time and sat and rewrote all this law, right? This was created in 18th century. That says it all, why everything is a garbage, right? Why everything is a garbage. How many educated population in the government? How they have been fooling the population because they thought not even one civilian in USA will ever bother to know what exactly is amendment, and they can get away free with whatever crap of law they can write, right? And they can still get away free with it. Not anymore. Not anymore. People were wondering why LGBT population cannot get help. People were wondering why polygamy people are not able to get the help. Here you go. This is a crime they provided. This is a crime they provided. Right? What would you all have done, my dear fellow mankind? What would you all have done? So this is part C of the 14th Amendment. What is Amy from state of Minnesota going to say? They all proved they are all Christian prostitutes, right? The highest level of prostitutes. Elizabeth Warren proved that she is a Christian prostitute. Bernie Sanders proved he is a Christian prostitute. Now did you get it how President Trump just came into the Republican mode at the 11th hour? That was also a scam after all, right? He was elected when he was having no clue about politics. He was just a regular businessman, entertainment world, that's all. And how he managed that 4 years with only my wisdom education alone. Nobody knew. The supporters of the President Trump never knew. I only provided all the education, right? Wisdom education. That means all the supporters of the President Trump must be saluting me right now, for I am tearing down the cells of Queen Elizabeth II. I'm nailing on the forehead of Pope Francis. This is exactly the rioters on the January 6th wanted to educate the population. They never got it. President Joe Biden never got it. They never got it. It is the Republican population got it, but they are all in the helpless mode because nobody has that wisdom to clearly explain except I am can only explain it clearly. Right? Then there is a part D of the Amendment 4. It was passed by Congress on June 13th of 1866, ratified on July 9th, 1868. It says, the validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion shall not be questioned. I don't know what this, can you see? We are all laymen population here. I'm just reading out, but then this law verbiage, I have to go and look for what does that word meaning from the Google. Only some I can understand, but on the highest level, I can say, oh, everything is a tax fraud. It is selfishly written. One clue is 18th century. 18th century means it was in dark ages of Rome in United States of America. Pope Francis was tearing down Holy Bible. Whoever wanted to read Holy Bible, Pope Francis was tearing it down. And today I'm nailing on the forehead of Pope Francis. And I'm tearing cell by cell of Queen Elizabeth too. That's all I can do because I never went to the law school. There are some law verbiage there. Right? The validity of the public debt. Yeah, debt means what? Financial debt, which I'm talking about. I'm talking about because they created the debt for me, financial debt for me. It's a President Trump who created debt for me, financial debt. That is the deadliest crime, war crime, the deadliest Nazism crime. It's a death penalty crime, I already said. According to the Nazism crime mode, United Federal Government will only have to provide death penalty to the President Trump and Brett Kavanaugh and the Mitch McConnell. Right. Again, only I have to bail them out. Can you see? People will be throwing acid after acid after acid, scar after scar after scar, injustice after injustice after injustice. So I have to still be standing like that, like a dumb. Right? For how long? For how long? I cannot forgive them. I can bail them out, that's all. President Trump must write the check for $5,000 for he created the financial debt for me. It's as simple as that. And Brett Kavanaugh must write the check for $5,000 and direct deposit to me on my bank account. And Mitch McConnell must write the $5,000 check. And the Citibank CEO must write the pay of the $10,000+ in full and pay write $5,000 check. Senate must write $5,000 check. GOP must write $5,000 check. Congress must write $5,000 check. House of Representatives must write $5,000 check. Pope Francis must write $1 billion check. I will get justice my way only. When they can create poverty for me, I will say, you only created poverty for me. I never begged. So you pay. You pay the medical compensation. Let me get healed. Right? For me to have that healing process, I need all this money because the medical billing is very costly. You see, for a cancer, if I get a cancer in between because of the stress, then I have to pay $50,000 check. So when I'm getting all this medical compensation, then I'll be ready to pay for the medical billing too. Otherwise, where will I go? Right? Government broken. There are no humans. the validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. I can understand shall not be questioned. Because I am fighting for civil justice. Nobody can ask me any questions. So I think whatever I said, only they provided that in the state, that particular statement says that's what my brain can think of. But on the highest level, all the amendments is garbage. It's a crap, right? But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Can you get it? Are you all shocked? Are you all getting goosebumps? This is why Mitch McConnell is creating prostitute after prostitute after prostitute. For how long he can be prostituting? He thought he is the one who can create the hell, right? He's a boss. No, he's not. He's a slave. He's a prostitute to the Queen Elizabeth II, isn't it? Oh my word. Can you see how selfishly, poorly, foolish way they wrote? It's a loophole here. So tell me, what is President Joe Biden going to say about this Part D, the Section 4 of the Amendment 14, which is the deadliest crime? Tax fraud crime. What is he going to say about this? President Joe Biden must also sign off $5,000 for President Trump created poverty for me, isn't it? Who are these cracks? Who are these prostitutes to create poverty for me? If at all they want to be living in a prostitute with a prostitute Queen Elizabeth, it's their choice, right? Mitch McConnell, if you want to steal the rightful job of a judge job for me and create the poverty, he should have done to any of his own family members, right? He thought he can create the scar on my face and nothing will happen, he can live away free. No, he has to die with the stress of that curse he got from his action of he provided that injustice to me. Right? Even after getting into the coffin also, stressful more. I already said, the moment the lawmakers, they sign the injustice and punish the innocent, they get the curse from the God. That is why always in the lawmaking process, if the brains are in a confused mode, the people should never do anything, any action. Just stop it. I educated them. If your brain is in a confused mode, do not decide anything. Do not sign off anything. Just don't do anything. Wait for a while. But if you see Mitch McConnell, he always provided that foolish kind of an act only. How fast his way he signed the Supreme Judge for Amy Barrett. Today, Amy Barrett, prostitute, will be resigning because they all provided the deadliest crime, right? And Brett Kavanaugh, the prostitute who stole the rightful job from me, will also resign because all this amendment is wrong, isn't it? It's wrong. It's crime. So the first step of a Supreme Judge is never sign off any justice process emotionally. But Mitch McConnell, being a lawmaker, a filthiest prostitute, he signed everything in a very less than 2 minutes, less than 3 minutes kind of mode. So they can know how to create havoc. They can also know how to make people live. right? They made Amy Barrett the prostitute to live by creating poverty to me. Is he a human? He's a crap, isn't it? He's a trash after all. Because this is how the prostitutes, the garbage, the trash will treat the fellow mankind. As a dust, less than a dust. Am I Joe? Yeah, President Trump was stealing my design, the costless design of Medicaid, Medicare, and he came up with a show that it was all created right in the nose of the state of Wisconsin government only. American Healthcare Act. And it got scrapped because nobody was able to provide the design. Everybody backed off. What would all have done? What would I have done? See, can you all, I know your blood must be boiling, isn't it? Because each and every single amendment is a crap. I'm telling crap, but you all will be only accusing, right? You all do not have any eligibility to accuse. I only have all the eligibility to accuse. I can accuse. All right? As long as I wish, I can accuse. How much ever I want to accuse, I can accuse. But I'm providing the raw truth, my dear fellow mankind. I'm just providing the raw truth. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Of any slave. Of any slave. Oh, slave. Oh my word. How many lawyers, how many leaders, how many theologians? At least Billy Graham could have stepped and educated USA, isn't it? Because he's called as a citizen, right? Are you laughing or are you crying or what are you doing? Are you puking? You keep puking. Puke on the face of Pope Francis. Let him lick the puke and die in ashes. A slave. Slave. So they added the rebellion word, which according to my understanding, I could understand that whenever an injustice is provided to the innocent civilian will stand up and ask, why government? Why? I am innocent. I only asked for civil justice. Why USA government? Why Republican government? Why Democrat government? Why Senate? Why Republican Senate? Why Democrat Senate? Why Republican Congress? Why Democrat Congress? Why Republican House of Representatives? Why Democrat House of Representatives? Why Republican GOP? Why Democrat GOP? Why Speaker? All humans only. Why signing of always injustice to the innocent? Means they will ask. And they provided the selfish way of the word verbiage as rebellion. Can you see how everything they created the law according to that will make them free, make Pope Francis to live free and Queen Elizabeth to live free? This is how they created the destruction, my dear fellow mankind. This is how. Here now is 2021 and this amendment was written on 1866, 18th century. 18th century. How many presidents came? How many popes came? How many London queens came and left with that prostitute Queen Elizabeth II? Her successors were all killers, the murderers, the Queen Elizabeth II, isn't it? Then there is Part E of Amendment 14. It says it was passed by Congress on June 13th, 1866, ratified July 9th, 1868. Article 1, 2 section of the Constitution was modified by the Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. And that section says, the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. Who is the leader of the Congress? The prostitution organization in the United States of America as of now, as of this moment. I don't know, I have to do the Googling. He's a prostitute, isn't it? Whoever that Congress leader in the government of United States of America is a super prostitute, right? At least, if at all they wrote all the crap, the prostitution, the selfish law, that last sentence says what? At least somebody must have had a little bit of conscience, I think so, in the 18th century. Because they all were in the prosecution mode because Queen Elizabeth only mandated them to write all this kind of a crap. But even in that, indirectly, they provided the Morse code. This is what is called the Morse code, right? The Mayday mode, military code mode, defense code mode. They said what? The Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So that means what? Somebody having that conscience in the nerve in their human blood cells, they just provided with one single sentence and communicated crystal clear manner. Yes, there is an error in the amendment. It is all created because of the Queen Elizabeth II and Pope Francis, the prostitutes. Stand up, my people. Stand up. Stand up and rewrite it, reform it. That's what the sentence is. Nobody got it. Bernie Sanders had his time. He could have stood up. Amy of state of Minnesota had time. She missed up. Elizabeth Warren had her own time. She missed it up. Mitt Romney had his own time. He missed it up. Hillary Clinton had her own time. Bill Clinton had his own time. President Obama has his own time. They all missed it. President Joe Biden has his own time as well. He missed it. Kamala Harris has also had time. She missed it. Michelle Obama, lawyer, she had her time. She missed it. Right? So, it is the education population who are creating the poverty after all, isn't it? One thing, they'll be having the lifetime jobs, and then they can also become the president or whatnot, crap, at the side passive jobs. So they'll be getting the salary for this, salary for that, salary for whatever. They'll be filthy riches. They don't even have to worry. They'll be having monthly bill for $1 million or $50,000, whatever, and they'll be paying for it. They don't even have to worry, right? The luxury. Tell me, what is President Joe Biden going to say about this or do about this? Can you all see all along why President Trump is innocent man? Right? Only wisest can even understand why President Trump is innocent. Fools will mock me. I am displaying the deadliest crime here in the layers, hierarchy level mode of layers of errors. Then there is the last amendment, 15th. It was passed by Congress on February 26th of 1869, ratified on February 3rd, 1870. Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied. Are you puking? Are you fainting? Oh, don't faint. That is more crime, my dear fellow mankind. Don't you all want to puke all your puke on the face of the Pope Francis? Wait. These are all only one part of the crime, that's all. The right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied. Native Indian tribes of United States of America never voted. There are people who never voted. I never voted. Then African Americans are rejected from voting by Pope Francis and Queen Elizabeth only. Nobody stood up and asked, dear Queen, you are very God of USA, you are so pure, you are so white skinned, and you are also very Republica, and you are also jumped from heaven. Oh, how holy, holy Queen you are. Why did you mandated the population in that 18th century to mandate African Americans cannot vote? Why Native Indian tribes cannot vote? Why the immigrants cannot vote? Why, Queen? You are also God. Why nobody asked her? Why Billy Graham never asked her? Why? Can you all see when all these amendments were written, can you all see the patterns, what I am noticing in these amendments? It is not even my job, my dear fellow mankind. For me, I observe a lot. And in my observation, I am seeing only one pattern here. Can you all see what patterns in your eyesight, wisdom eyesight I'm talking about? I'm proving it. After 100 long years, a statue will be built for Hitler, the Germany Hitler, the late Hitler. When all these amendments were written, he was never even born. He was born only in 1889. And the World War II in 1918, remember, there was another play that time. That's what the internet says. So it all has its own puzzle. Meaning somebody must have stood up and asked for civil justice, and Queen Elizabeth must have asked the Germany doctors to create that plague too. I'm absolutely positive on that. I was not born in that century, 18th century though, or 19th century. 18th century, right? 1918 or something like that. So he was young, energetic, right? That goes without telling. The young, energetic, the blood to provide the civil justice will be high more, right? He got to be a leader of that organization. He got butchered first. Even before getting into that organization, he got slaughtered. He became a human bomb out of nowhere. Right? I'm proving it, my dear fellow mankind. And which year state of Wisconsin even became state of Wisconsin? Some 18th century, right? Refer in my earlier sessions. 18th century. And that time even Hitler was not born. So Republica is worldwide. India is one hell of a Republican nation. They celebrate Republica. It's a festival. All Islam nations is Republica. London is Republic, Ireland is Republic, Scotland is Republic, Poland is Republic, Czechoslovakia is Republic, Slovenia is Republic, everything is Republic. France is a Republic. USA is never a democrat nation. They all got fooled. Why? Queen Elizabeth created that division right here in state of Wisconsin in the 18th century, and innocent man Hitler was not even born. That she created that in state of Wisconsin for a reason only, to destroy Tamil Nadu. Only she created that. Nobody knew. USA never knew. State of Wisconsin never knew. And that is why she had Lord Ripon to go to the Tamil Nadu and build that corporation which is a municipality building in Tamil Nadu. It's all for a reason. She wants to destroy Tamil Nadu. Not anymore. How? What would you all have done? And then women's, I heard that from the documentaries and the TVs I've seen, women were not allowed to vote, right? That is stripping off the basic consumer civil rights of the civilians is the deadliest crime. There is no other crime, right? How many civilians in the United States of America never voted? So that is a live proof, my dear fellow mankind, elections 2020 is a crime. At least President Trump, Joe Biden, should have stood up in his leadership qualities, being a lawyer, right? And should have said, no, for this elections 2020, I want it to be the heaven mode of elections. Even if it is going through this COVID-19, I want whoever living in the United States of America to vote, right? So can you see the leadership qualities missing? It's a proof, right? And President Trump, how he is displayed only as innocent, right? In my book of civil law, President Trump is innocent. It's okay if people are going to mock me, right? 2021, and this was written on 18th century. And can you see why God's labor is always in God's labor? I never knew that all this will be written in the February and March, and we are right in March. Can you all see why God's timing is all that time known to God only? Even I see, it's not my job. I'm just reading out this amendment and explaining and educating on the highest level of this crime, that's all. Some of the law verbiage even I'm not able to understand, right? And this is how they create confusion. For Pope Francis, this is why I kept knife on the neck and choked Pope Francis and tearing down Queen Elizabeth cell by cell. So that means there is never need for voting after all. So because when a government never knows how to provide healthy elections and voting processing, that entire election commission organizations must be sealed and shut down for voting rights endangerment. Who are these people? Who is Queen Elizabeth to prostitute to strip off the voting rights of civilians? Who is she? When she created all kind of a crap, it is the voting right that must be stripped out from Queen Elizabeth too, after all. Right? Why Bernie Sanders, a senator from state Vermont, never stood up and said that? It's an easy wisdom education, isn't it? He talks very sweetest in the elections, right? That is why they are all never leaders. The leadership has a separate quality, separate, the talent and everything stands out, right? Yes, every leader, if you're going to see, they have their own way of handling things. It's the talent. President Trump, he managed somehow. He wanted to pass out that 4 years. So somehow, and he passed it. Right. Somehow or the other, with all these things, he is talented in hire and fire. That's what he was making money out of in the TV show. And he provided the same thing because I was educating fire, 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 fire everybody, lay off everybody, one by one, got resigned. Right? Now today, this was written on 1870, my dear, 18th century and 70. And today we are in 2021, when the same government wanted to use all the technology, media. They want to be in the Facebook, they want to use artificial intelligence, this, that, the robo. Why they never even bothered to scrap all this kind of a crap in ashes. Why? Then the Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Can you see how the Morse code of Defense Code of Wisdom Education, they provided somebody who wrote this amendment, somewhere some conscious nerve was there, but they just provided one sentence of Morse code, that's all. This is how they'll provide that education. And people never got it. Right? People never got it. That means what? Go look into this and provide a review and rewrite it according to the generation. Right? People never got it. 9 teams of that Supreme judges were there. They never got it. Brett Kavanaugh, prostitute, never got it. Amy Barrett, prostitute, she never got it. So when they are prostitutes, nobody will get the wisdom, is a life proof. Because we are in the 2021 and this was written in 18th century. For how long they are going to keep on reading with the same very old, oh my. Can you all see the foolishness of the United States of American government? I'm tearing Queen Elizabeth to cell by cell, right? Because it's not me. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all those people, the Mitt Romney, all will be laughing out loudest in their heart because, yes, this Vethapriya lady is there. She will take care like that. Because they all became helpless mode. And I stood up and I said, hey, with one of the tasks is I will provide the reform for amendment. And this is one testimony I have to provide. This session is going long, but it's okay. I provided, and that way people can immediately relate it to me. When I was working on the Poverty Free Earth End of the Year 2030 volunteer project in the Facebook, I was running all the nations, right? Then I educated my amendment, one thing, each amendment and how it is injustice and everything. Then I provided a solution. Okay, these are all the scrap. I'm providing wisdom education. Hey, whoever are living presidents like President Jimmy Carter and President Obama, President George W. Bush, and did I miss any? There was one President George W. Bush Sr. also. Right. I said, okay, now you all take this task here. Go rewrite every amendment. And then by the time the President Trump ends the presidency, let him also join in the team effort. Sign it off. And then have all the Senate and everybody to sign it off. Create it. They never provided the task, right? That is why God is God always. It's a life proof why all presidents, one by one, count by count, all are super prostitutes, right? Christian prostitutes means highest level of prostitutes, the deadliest prostitutes, I will put it. In the rating scale of prostitutes, the deadliest prostitutes are the Christian prostitutes. And I also proved what? Men never caregivers. Men do not have sentiments. Men do not bother about the human values. Men do not respect human values, right? That's a proof. 18th century amendment. Oh, is your blood boiling or what? Okay, this is the 15th amendment, and then I will continue with the remaining amendments as well. So this session went on for a little longer, 1 hour and 25 minutes. So Queen Elizabeth II mandated somebody to say directly, African Americans or women or colored skin or immigrants from Asian nations cannot vote. But even in that prosecution mode, they provided just one sentence of Morse code, like a Mayday, military Morse code mode. The Congress have the power to rewrite, to look into this legislation and reform it. Nobody got that message. Selfish, right? Self-centered. Stripping the birthrights. The voting, a civilian voting rights is stripped off means it's a deadliest crime. It comes under the war crime. And President Joe Biden provided that war crime, and that is why President Joe Biden must resign any second now. There is no excuse for him. He's already in the jail, right? Meaning he's already in the jail mode for all the crimes he provided, and this is just one of the crimes, that is all. There is more crime I have to display. He's going to faint and pass out. He's going to faint and pass out. I already said they are all looking at their age things, and I said, okay, you created hell. Just get out of the White House and enjoy your retirement life. Means I was just preventing him from getting any curses. And he took the curse. These people, they wanted the curse. Have you all seen that? I have to provide this as a testimony. It's a fun layman way of understanding for the human brain, right? Have you all seen that 10 Commandment movies where Moses will be going and talking to the, I'm talking about the population who have seen the 10 Commandment movies, and the Christian population only. The non-Christian population don't even bother about this particular part, okay? The Moses will be interacting with the Egyptian king to free the Israelites, right? Then he will say, see, the true God of true Christianity wanted the Egypt king, to allow them to go free. The Egypt king will say, no, he cannot. Okay, then he is helpless mode. But then when he becomes helpless mode, it is God, the supernatural powers fight side by side with Moses. How? He sent 7 plagues, different kinds of plagues, to the Egypt empire. One was blood, water, like that. Because it's a hidden puzzle. Means what? The God giving mercy time, the grace time for the Egyptian king to repent. Meaning to understand the God's love of true Christianity and just allow these Israel people to live free. But his mind is so strong-hearted, the rock-hearted man. He's super evil, isn't it? Never wanted the Israelites to live free. Then what will happen in one of the scene when without heart means with heart of heart, he did not want the Israelites to be freed. But just because of all these plagues are coming, he's being enforced, pushed to the edge. Then he will say to Moses, okay, I want to free all the Israelites. Means half-hearted. So then he will get the curse on himself. How? He will do some kind of something. I forgot what it is. His son he will curse a god or something like that. That exact thing, I have to see that movie one more time. It's been a long time, right? But then he will get the curse on his own son and he will die. The Egypt king's son will die. It is because that Egypt king either mocked at the God's thing or whatever, and Moses will only say, don't do that. Because everybody, the wisest, the true Israelite tribes, when they are educating the wisdom, they will always be providing the prevention process. If you see in the patterns, everything's the same. Be it Noah's Ark and Daniel and the lion, and Queen Esther, and Deborah the judge, and all these people, they'll be only providing the prevention mode. But the foolish will never get it. And he will get the curse on himself. And that means his son will die. And he'll become very angry. Because the Egyptian empire and the Persian, the Islam empire means men and the son means what? They are the God. They have to have that son. If they're not having son, then it's almost like they'll be thrashed mode. So with that kind of anger, he will go back to that Moses and the Israelites to kill them. But then it is again the God who will protect all those Israelite people and Moses to pass through that sea, the Red Sea. And people say it never happened. Sorry, my dear fellow mankind, it happened. There's a lot of proof there, which I will reveal it. Okay? And that's a good sign, right? When there is a proof for the Red Sea, whatever that happened in the Red Sea, there's a proof, then that's a good sign. Don't you all think so? It happened. I said every single incident happened. It is that Queen Elizabeth II and Pope Francis wanted the Islam Judaism to destroy the true Christianity, and the doctors were also joined their hands, and they said science is only true, whatever Holy Bible is wrong, and they confused human population. It's all for a reason only, which I'm going to reveal it down the road. But let's look on to all the crimes first. Let us all accumulate it and throw it on the face of Pope Francis and let him die in ashes, right? At least he could have said, right? Oh, USA, that particular amendment, I only mandated to strip off the birthrights, the voting rights of the humans, you see. Now is the time, because when people know that I am the Pope, the only hell creator, oh, they'll all kill me. Please, please, please. Can you change that amendment here and there and tweak it? It's the time passed, right? Mercy time gone. Grace period is over. So, yes, my dear fellow mankind, stripping off civilians' voting rights is a deadliest crime. And sadly, United States of America provided that, because each and every single popular civilian in the government office in the United States of America, they don't know what is government. Don't laugh, it's not funny. It's a very serious issue I'm handling here, because the civil justice must be provided right now. Civil rights law, when they're stripping it out from the civilians like you and me, it is a deadliest crime. So President Joe Biden provides that crime. It's a tax fraud crime. And President Joe Biden must resign immediately, according to the Holy Bible guidelines. So he got the curse on himself, isn't it? He took the curse on himself. And the judge, all the 5 people who signed injustice, they took the curse on themselves. I was just stopping them. I was just preventing them. Prevention is always better than cure. They threw acid on me anyways. And this is exactly how foolish people will react. So, with that said, more crime is there, more tax fraud crime is there, and I don't know how President Joe Biden is going to handle it, and I'm absolutely positive President Joe Biden is going to faint and pass out. Because the raw truth is raw truth, isn't it? Nobody can deny of the scandal that's been going on forever. That needs to be stopped, right? That needs to be stopped. For how long abusive people will always keep on slapping on my face, and I have to say, okay, slap me, like that. Don't y'all think I stand tallest, and by standing tallest alone, all this injustice, all these amendments, all this injustice must be fried in ashes. And I will only tear cell by cell of Queen Elizabeth II. Nobody will dare to ask me. When I've kept knife on the neck of Pope Francis and choked the neck of Pope Francis, and President Joe Biden will back off and he will resign immediately. Because I do not want him to get any more curse of this Vatican crime. Just anybody voices people, please ask President Joe Biden to resign and get out of the White House immediately. Because when he's going to get more and more curse of that Pope Francis, I can see the innocence in President Joe Biden, but I just do not want him to get the curse, that's all. That is all I can do. Then I become helpless mode, right? If he's going to get the curse of the card, then he's going to get the curse of the card. Then I become helpless mode. Then President Joe Biden cannot even say to me, hey Vethapriya, you could have at least helped me from preventing getting this curse, right? He cannot even ask me, because I will say, no, President Joe Biden, I've been educating your country Secretary of the State for a while. I also educated your Department of Justice for a while, and I also educated now, so it's not my fault. Go kneel down and ask for forgiveness from the God. This is what I will say. And true Christianity, this is why everybody becomes helpless mode. Right? And yes, why God is always God. You will figure out that answer. Why God chose me to work on that poverty-free earth end of the year 2030 volunteer project out of nowhere. Right? It's only because I worked on that project I was able to crack down all this crime, isn't it? That is a life miracle, my dear fellow mankind. That's a proof why God's supernatural power is supernatural power, indeed. Nobody knows that. Okay, with that said, I will end this session. So just be aware, civil justice wins. Okay, just be patient. Okay, we are still on that 10% of that last display of the crime to the USA government mode. That much of crime is there. That much crime Pope Francis provided, and he's get to live free. He should not be living free. He should have been dead long time back. At least I chopped his head on October 2016. This is what a true Supreme Judge will do, according to the true Christianity guidelines. Today, I'm nailing on his forehead non-stop means that much crime he provided. Stripping of basic voting civil rights of a civilian is a deadliest crime. Voting should be a festival that entire nation should be celebrating like a carnival. They should enjoy that day. People should go and happily vote for whoever leader they want to be. A true leader never needs marketing, a campaigning, nothing. But can you see how foolish it is and how people got fooled by it? That they have to be pressurized to provide a campaigning and raise money out of it. And I also have to provide advertisement and marketing and to trash each other in that advertisement and marketing. That's not a leadership quality. That says all these presidents provided that crime only. Nobody is left out in that crime, right? And this is how the prostitutes will provide, and prostitutes can never be leader. Right? Prostitutes can never be leader. If the prostitutes are going to be leader, you all got it. How the Queen Elizabeth II trashed population, how Pope Francis trashing the population, how Islam leaders are trashing the population. This is how it will be. Track record. Blood cells level, they are dangerous. So you all keep working on who am I, and I will, I will work on how to finish all this display of that crime as early as possible, right? I'm just working on that task only, with best of my ability. Now we all got it, how much of labor I provided in the poverty-free earth end of the year 2030 volunteer project, and how much long years it took, right? That labor. And whatever I provided in the Facebook, I have to cover it up in a very shortest form with best of my ability. What would you all have done? Stripping off your birthrights of voting for any nation is a deadliest crime. Slave word should never be in any of the amendment, it's already there. Tax word should not be in any of the amendment, it's already there. And we covered only what, 15 amendments? More amendments are there. And yes, President, whether you're going to love it or hate me for telling the truth, President Joe Biden provided deadliest amendment, tax fraud, and because of that crime, President Joe Biden and his entire team and Democrat organizations and Republican organizations all must be dissolved. And Senate, whoever Senate, House of Representatives, all must resign immediately, no matter what. I can provide the reformation, I can provide what next when I sign up the job with the USA government. Everything going to be new, heaven mode. Watch and see, okay? Thank you all for your time. Take care. Bye for now.